Hi everyone, I'm Claire Marie B and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be taking you through my September bullet journal setup. For my theme this month I've chosen a pegboard theme with note cards and pinned notelets, and I've also chosen for my colours a blue scheme using some nude colours and a little bit of pink and turquoise as well. I was inspired for the theme this month by a set of washi tape that I bought, and you'll see that washi tape come about. You know I love a washi tape. And you'll see me using those washi tapes as we move through the setup. I really liked that they'd taken some colours that I wouldn't ordinarily put together. I find that I'm great at picking one or two colours for a scheme that go together, but then I struggle to kind of build it out from there. So I've been looking for inspiration to get better at that, and taking some inspiration from washi tapes or things that I'm attracted to and I buy and I already have in the sets, and then looking at, okay, well, which of these colours that are going together, and then finding pens, because I have so many pens, so I'll find pens that really match that. So this month it was about taking the turquoise and a lovely couple of shades of blue that were together, and I wouldn't have usually used those colours together in a setup. So that's how I started, and then I built out the colour scheme from there. I'm starting by drawing out all of the little note cards that I want to have on my pegboard. I'm doing some Polaroid pictures and some little clip notes, and I'm building those up across the double page. I've decided on a double page spread for September instead of a single page because of the board effect and the notice board effect or pegboard, whatever you know it as. But I felt that really gave me the space and opportunity to have an impactful theme this month. I was also able to build my quote into the notice board, therefore creating 2 pages in one. And that's why I've ended up across the 2 pages. So I'm using the washi tapes here that I talked about at the start. These were the first 2 that gave me the inspiration from the set. There's the blue colours and turquoise and gold, and all together in that set, and it just looks, I think it's a great set. The quote that jumped out to me this month was a Walt Disney quote. I really liked this quote this month. I've got an awful lot to do with work. I've got a really busy couple of months coming up, but I love my planning and my downtime and hobby, and the thing that really helps me kind of from a mindfulness perspective and what I like to do is all my planning, and it's this creating and having this creative outlet, and I enjoy it so much. And I really appreciate all of you watching the video and subscribing and liking it and everything else that you do all out there in the comments. I just enjoy this so much, and it's always really great to hear when you're enjoying it too. So yeah, thanks for all of those. And so for me, I really want to spend the time in the next couple of months hopefully building my channel further, and it's the perfect time of year. I absolutely love autumn, fall, depending on where you're from, journaling. I just think it's just the best time of year. I love the themes. I love how much journaling we do at this time, that you bounce from beautiful October spreads into New Year setup and holiday spreads and all of those other things. So yeah, I just love this time of year. I want to make sure I carve out enough personal time to really enjoy doing all of my setups and invest in that time because I just love it so much. I've drawn everything out to start with before I start putting the board and the grid lines behind, so that I can make sure that those grid lines don't interfere with the actual note cards. And if I started to draw some of this out and didn't like the spacing, then I could make the changes without having the grid section already drawn in place. It was a challenge for me not to do that. There was something instinctive in me that really wanted to draw the grid out first. But yeah, definitely the smartest way that I did it was this way around. If you're wanting to recreate the grid squares as well, I've done those as 3x3. So there's a gap of 3 dotted rows on the dot grid in between each of those squares, and it works quite well on the spacing. The only bit that it doesn't work perfectly on is right at the bottom. You'll just see there's 2 lines before you hit the bottom section, but other than that, I find I really like this spacing, and it looks really good from a distance. I don't think I would have wanted to do it any smaller than that. If I'd have done it on a single page, which obviously you can recreate that, I probably would have done maybe one less box. And that's my cover page complete. On to my calendar spread. I know I've shared this in previous videos with you, but I'm really enjoying having coloured boxes and really using all the different pens that I'm using throughout the theme for the month. I really love creating just a big pattern of those across in the boxes. I'm just finding it so much fun, and also it takes me so long to pick out the colours, and sometimes I felt in my older spreads I wasn't using the colour enough, and I wanted to make it as bright as possible. So that's what I've done in my calendar spread today. As soon as I finished drawing out all the boxes, I realised my big error, that I'd put an extra box at the bottom right. As you can see there, in September there is not a final date on a Sunday. I always do my calendar Monday to Sunday. So I decided to use my grid tape to cover that over, and that'll be a little note box square that I keep at the bottom right hand side. I started to draw out my grid lines and then remembered I wanted to put a to-do list on the right hand side, so I paused to make sure I put the to-do list on first. Part of the reason for that with tape or washi tapes is you're going to see those lines through the tape. Sometimes that doesn't matter, or I don't mind. When I usually draw out my borders, I'll stick the tape over the top. I don't mind seeing a little black line underneath. That's not a problem for me. But when it's a grid, I thought that might be a little bit different. As I do sometimes as well, I stopped one job and moved on to a different job before going back, so I decided to put the little clips on the top of each individual note before finishing off my grids. And then I'm just going to go back to finishing off the grid section now, and also putting a little bit of shading under each of the lines. And that's my calendar spread complete. Over the page, and we're going to move on to my mission control section. I've been doing this as a double page spread the last few months and having a Dutch door across. And in the Dutch door section, I would list my habits, and also I was listing my Instagram planner on there as well. I found for the last few months I kept it going for a little while just to really test, but I wasn't using it as much as I should be. I was feeling that it wasn't particularly efficient. It definitely wasn't working for me if I wasn't using it, and I tend to try something or keep something going for a few months just to really test, is it going to be worthwhile before making a change. This month I decided to make that change. I haven't used it at all in August, and I didn't use it in July either. And I find if I'm not using something, I'm not enjoying it, it's best to take it out and then put it back in when there's a real purpose for it. So this month I'm keeping my mission control really light and focusing on monthly to-dos, expenses and things like that. And I really took the opportunity to have this as a decorative page, keeping my theme going throughout. So I decided to take the Polaroid and put that in as a decoration piece, and then the washi tape where I've made that a little clip note as well to go on the notice board. I decided to speed up the grid section and to not show me drawing every single line, because I think that's going to get quite boring in this video. So I showed it for the very first section on the cover page, and then don't worry, I will speed through like I did with the calendar. I've sped through that across the other pages so that you don't have to sit and watch me go through every single line and every single bit of shading, because I'm sure once you've seen it once or twice, you know exactly what it is that I'm doing with that. On the right hand side of this page, I've decided to put my well-being checklist for the month. I've really loved doing this, so much more than tracking my habits and things like that. So I decided this month, whilst it's always a part of my mission control when I do this page, I decided to draw it out as if it's a separate grid and a separate notice board. And that's my mission control and well-being setup. On to my final spread of this setup, which is my memories page. This one's going to feel quite short and quite blank compared to the rest of them. I don't want to draw all the grid guides first because then I'm not going to be able to draw the little note cards that I then pin to the notice board. So I already knew I wanted these ones set up that you can see, which is where I'm going to put my song of the month, TV show of the month and movie of the month. And then this is my box on the right hand side where I always draw out and keep a record of TV and movies that I'm watching. I then started to draw out the rest of the grid guide and obviously realised this is going to cause a problem because I don't know exactly how I want to do this layout. I always build my memories as I go through the month, so that's why I wanted to make sure it stayed blank other than that, and I'll populate it as we go along. Here is my final flip through. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked my video, please hit like and subscribe to be notified of my future content. Have an amazing September and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!